Okay, let's look at question 83. A nice question, um, actually, not too crazy. Let's analyze it. So it says that Brittle expects to produce 4,000 units using 4,000 units using 5,000 labor hours. So what's important to always know is, well, how long is it going to take to make one unit? We want to get our standards out. So that's, if you like, one unit there is 4 over, sorry, divide that by 4,000, divide that by 4,000, so that's 5 over 4, so that's 1.25 hours. So I know that when I'm making one unit, I'm going to need 1.25 hours, and it tells me that the standard cost of an hour is £7. Okay, that's brilliant. Now you go ahead and you produce 4,100 units. So my standard, I'll just calculate that out first. My standard, I'm expecting you to, my standard for measurements is to use, to make 4,100 units, 1.25 times 4,100, 1.25 times 4,100. I'm expecting you to spend 5,125 hours, right? So I'll just give myself some space. I mean, just clean this out so you can now know this is what change my pen color as well. So, what actually, well, we need all the information really. It says that actual hours paid were 5,200. So I'm just going to put that over here. I mean, these are just my standards. Actual hours were 5,200. So, of course, as you can imagine, with your actual hours, um, well, there's a number of things we can assess. Actually, let's first of all deal with the labor rate, and I'll come back to efficiencies. So, when we talk about the labor rate, yes, you paid, yeah, I mean, you demanded 5,200 hours. So you control wages. Remember, this is separate from efficiency. The people who pay HR versus the guys in production. So the actual guys working, managing the staff. So you should have paid £7 on each of those hours. That's kind of the situation. That's what you should have paid. You should have paid £7 times 5,200, and that would have given you 36,000, 36,400 is what you should have paid, right? Because that's the standard charge per hour. But you paid 36,000. You paid 36,000. So you have a £400 favorable variance. You have a £400 favorable variance. That's what you have. So that's the first thing. Um, and that's kind of, that wasn't too bad. I mean, again, like I say, I could start finding out what you paid per hour. I don't need to. It'll be somewhere here, right? Because really that's the variance, really, that difference between purely based on what it is you've bought. And the same principle applies for inventory, even if we haven't sold the inventory. If you buy goods, the price variance is on all the inventory bought, and the efficiency or the utilization or the usage variance is based on only what you used versus what you should have used, right? So we wouldn't include the closing stock, but same principle. Okay, I'm just going to get rid of this because now you know where that answer has come from, just to give me space. Now, here's the thing. You paid for 5,200 hours because you paid for 5,200 hours because there was some idle time. So what happened was that there was some idle time. So the actual hours that they actually worked is somewhere. I mean, they actually, because the actual hours they actually worked is somewhere here, because that's what I really want to compare to efficiency. But I mean, in terms of idle time, I accept that I pay more than what they actually work. And it tells me the difference is £700 adverse. I mean, this is all based on the standard time. So I'm telling you that, let's just call it X. You actually worked 5,100 hours. Um, sorry, you actually worked X hours, but we paid 5,200 hours. So 502 hours minus what you actually worked, if you like, is the times, of course, £7 is the idle time, is the idle value, and I'm told that that's £700, right? Because that's the situation. We pay for more hours than they'll actually work because we need to factor in some element of idle time. And so when you look at this here, 5,200 minus X is equal to, I'll just divide both sides by 7, is equal to 100 pound, is equal to 100 pounds or is equal to 100, if you like, in terms of equations, because this is also £7, but, well, yeah, fine, is equal to 100, and therefore 5,200 minus x is equal to 100, and it means, therefore, that x, if you like, must be 5,200 minus 100. And so x is 5,100. So actual hours worked are 5,100 hours. So in terms of trying to understand how you actually get your actual hours, you're interested, of course, in the actual hours. Is that the idle time is the relationship? We did that in the earlier formulas. Is the relationship between actual hours worked and actual hours paid, if you like, right? Because there's a difference. So now I know you actually did 5,100 hours. 5,100 hours, right? And that's what I know you did. But I know that, so this, of course, this is adverse. It's always well, anyways, adverse. That's the point. So I know you did 5,100 hours, but you should have done, see my pen color, you should have used 5,125 hours. And so you have a variance, your efficiency variance. You actually did 25 hours less than you should have. Sorry, yeah, 25 hours, of course, hours less than you should have done, right? That's the standard based on the initial information given to us, like a fixed budget. Then we now look at what's going on in blue. And then, of course, that's the 25 hours at £7, of course, because, right, this is all based on efficiency. Efficiency variance is always based using the standard, and that's £175. Cool, great stuff. Hopefully that helps. What I'm trying to do is to break it down so you actually see where the figures are coming from. I'm not a big fan of formulas because I think you just can't forget those. I think if you understand what's going on, then you're calmer, and then you can go back and apply and see where those figures are in the formula.